why the hero of all of my novels are boys. This is the young adult and middle grade novel that I have out right now on my blog, Fairy Tale and There's a Werewolf at My School. I've speculated a lot in the past about why this could be. Could it be internalized misogyny, for instance? I also wondered if it couldn't be just following trends, I guess, in media. You know, my favorite movies were Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean, and I really loved adventure stories, of course, as a kid, fairy tales and quests, and all of those had boys as the main characters. I do remember consciously thinking I really wish I could write a story where girls go on adventures, but you know, my family and my church culture believe that girls are supposed to stay home, so they can't do that. There was a certain thrill that came with writing male characters that I still experience. I've come out pretty much all over the internet, and to all of my friends and family and everything as non-binary, which means I don't identify fully as a girl or a boy, but I still am struggling with, like, in my everyday life, the fact that I appear as a girl. Like, a lot of people will think that I'm a girl. So whenever somebody picks up, you know, this book, as a reader reads it, they are just automatically accepting the fact that he's a boy. They don't question it. They don't say, are you sure you're a boy? I mean, I'm not sure. Like, the author's a girl, or I think that they are. It's the suspension of disbelief. They just believe that it's a boy, and I therefore can just completely embody maleness and know that I will not be judged about it or like questioned about it. And the same thing for this book. You see this guy is the main character on the front here. As someone's reading it, same thing, they won't question it. So whenever I sit down to write the sequels, I've been more conscious of the fact that I feel this euphoric freedom, kind of similar to the way I do whenever I'm like jamming to a song that's like sung by a guy, of just feeling like fully able to express like a male identity. I guess the question could be raised, does internalized misogyny or like me thinking that girls can't go on adventures and do all these things in the back of my head somehow inform my gender identity? I don't think that's a question that I'll ever fully answer. All I can know for sure is like how I feel and the way to articulate it in the language, in the gender language that I know. Because I had those kind of like backwards conservative views on that girls couldn't go on adventures and stuff when I was writing these books, unfortunately there were also just like not a lot of good female characters. Identifying very much as a boy myself, I honestly sometimes have a hard time relating with girls. And I sometimes, back then especially, had a hard time like understanding what that experience even was. It was a weird experience, like transitioning to the point where I realized that girls were allowed to express all of these kinds of just like normal human emotions, and then I was allowed to write them feeling those. I still am very glad that I created these works with a male protagonist, because there's kind of just nothing like the feeling for me of sitting down at a keyboard and like getting into the head of these people and realizing that whenever somebody is perceiving them, they're going to perceive them as fully male, and I'm able to share that part of myself in a way that I don't feel like I can share anywhere else. I just put up the first chapter of Fairy Tale and the first chapter of There's a Werewolf at My School on my blog, which is linked below. All you have to do is click on the books, and there'll be a link right down below that says, you know, read the first chapter or read the first few chapters. And if you guys want, I can start linking the other chapters, a couple of the other chapters of books there, so you can get a little peek and see if you like the characters, see if it's something you would like to continue reading. Until I see you again, always remember that we are epic heroes today and every day of our lives. And I'll see you in the next video.